Welcome to the Oregon Department of Education Child Nutrition Programs training on administering the Summer Food Service Program. This training will discuss program payments. The topics covered in this session are advances and startup payments, program reimbursement, allowable and unallowable program costs, management responsibilities, and non-reimbursable meals. Additionally, the methods and procedures for program payments are discussed. Program payments are the reimbursement that sponsors receive based on the number of meals they serve that meet Summer Food Service Program requirements for reimbursement. When sponsors apply for the program, they have the option to make a request for advance payments. The request for advance payments may be made for their total program costs, for their operating costs, or for their administrative costs. Sponsors may not request an advance for operating and administrative costs combined, but must make a request for operating costs and administrative costs separately. Sponsors make the request for advance payments on the sponsor information sheet in CNP Web. When determining the amount of the advance payment, ODE CNP will make the best possible estimate based on the sponsor's request and any other available data. These payments are advances on the reimbursement that sponsors will receive for a month of operation, and advances are considered a short-term loan. Sponsors receiving an advance must pay the advance back. An advance is paid back through deduction from future reimbursement payments. The advances should help sponsors maintain a positive cash flow because they will have funds available to meet program costs as they arise throughout the month. Sponsors must request each advance payment for operating costs from ODE CNP at least 30 days before the payment dates of June 1st, July 15th, and August 15th. If sponsors participated in the previous year's program, the advance payments for operating costs are usually based on the reimbursement they earned during the same month of the previous year. ODE CNP may also estimate advance payments as a percentage of anticipated costs. ODE CNP must receive certification that a sponsor, except for school district sponsors, has held training sessions on program requirements for the site and sponsor personnel before it will release the second month's operating advance to the sponsor. A sponsor may not receive an advance for operating costs in any month when it will not be operating for at least 10 days. Sponsors must request each advance payment for administrative costs from ODE CNP at least 30 days before the payment dates of June 1st and July 15th. Sponsors planning to operate the program for less than 10 days cannot receive advance payments for administrative costs. ODE CNP may adjust the amount of advances based on monitoring or audits. ODE CNP may, at its discretion, provide the sponsor with a limited amount of startup payments. Startup payments may be up to a maximum of 20% of the sponsor's approved administrative budget. These startup payments are deducted from later administrative reimbursements and are for administrative costs incurred in planning a food service and in establishing effective management procedures for that service. Sponsors may request the startup payments if they are available when they apply for the program. If approved, the startup payments may not be provided any earlier than 2 months before program operations begin. Reimbursements are based on the number of reimbursable meals served multiplied by the sum of administrative and operational rates. Sponsors must maintain complete records to document all costs and meals they claim for reimbursement. Sites must be approved by ODE CNP and CNP Web prior to claiming meals for reimbursement. Sponsors are not eligible for reimbursement unless they have signed an agreement with ODE CNP. The necessary records to maintain are discussed in ODE CNP's training on record keeping. Camp sponsors can only be reimbursed for meals served to children who are eligible for free or reduced price meals according to the income guidelines for the National School Lunch and School Breakfast programs. With ODE CNP approval, camps may claim reimbursement for serving up to 3 meals or 2 meals and 1 snack to eligible children each day. Therefore, a camp may not claim reimbursement for snacks on days that it claims reimbursement for breakfast, lunch, and supper. Alternately, a camp may not claim reimbursement for a 3rd meal on days that it claims a snack for reimbursement. Camp reimbursements are based on the number of children served who are eligible for free or reduced price meals. Sponsors of camps must maintain the documentation that demonstrates the free and reduced price eligibility of the children they claim reimbursement for and must make it available for review by the ODE CNP reviewer. Camps may also charge non-eligible children a separate fee for meals. The current administrative reimbursement rates are located on the ODE CMP Summer Food Service Program website. ODE CMP posts the reimbursement rates on the ODE CMP website as soon as they are published. The link to the reimbursement rates is located at the bottom of this slide. The Summer Food Service Program has two different levels of administrative reimbursement rates. The higher rate is for sponsors that assemble their own meals and for sponsors of sites located in rural areas. The lower rate is for all other sponsors. Self-preparation or self-operating sponsor means a sponsor which prepares the meals that will be served at its sites and does not contract with a food service management company for unitized meals, with or without milk, or for management services. Vended sponsors means a sponsor which purchases from a food service management company the unitized meals, with or without milk, which it will serve at its sites, or a sponsor which purchases management services, subject to the limitations set forth in Section 225.15 from a food service management company. Additional information of determining rural designations will be provided on a later slide. Reimbursements may be used to cover allowable operating costs that include, but are not limited to, the cost of food used, non-food supplies used in the food service, and space for the food service. Reimbursements may be used to cover allowable administrative costs incurred by your organization for activities related to planning, organizing, and administering the program. As previously mentioned, the Summer Food Service Program has two different levels of administrative reimbursement rates. The higher reimbursement rates are for sponsors of sites that prepare or assemble their own meals, and for sponsors of sites located in rural areas. The lower rate is for all other sponsors. A rural area is any area that is not part of a metropolitan statistical area, as defined by the Office of Management and Budget. With the approval of ODE CMP, an area may be defined as rural if it is part of a metropolitan statistical area but is isolated from an urban center. ODE CMP will be able to provide information on whether sites are considered rural for program purposes. According to a study conducted by FNS in 1978, sponsors that prepare their own meals and operate in rural areas may incur higher costs than other sponsors. Therefore, additional administrative reimbursements are provided to sponsors who serve meals at rural sites and for self-prepared meals. The link at the bottom of this slide is to access the Food and Nutrition Services Rural Designation Mapper. Using this site address, sponsors may use the mapper to determine if a site may be designated as rural for the purpose of summer food service programs. See the ODE CMP memo, Rural Designations in the Summer Food Service Program, located on the ODE CMP Summer Food Service Program memo webpage. Unallowable costs are costs for which program funds may not be used. Some examples of unallowable costs are costs for excess meals ordered or prepared but not served to eligible children. For example, meals in excess of legitimate program adult meals and reimbursable meals, unless specifically approved by ODE CMP. Meals served in violation of program requirements. For example, foods served that do not meet the meal pattern requirements, meals or unapproved of components consumed off-site, or second meals served in excess of the 2% tolerance. The cost to purchase food, including coffee, for use outside of the Summer Food Service Program, repayment of overclaims and other federal debts, the cost of meals served to administrative adult personnel or any other adults that are not in the operation of the food service. A more detailed list of unallowable costs is located in the USDA Administrative Guidance for Sponsors. This guidance is located on the ODE CMP Summer Food Service Program website. Funds accruing to the program must be documented, but will not be deducted from a sponsor's reimbursement. Sources of funds that are considered program income include cash donations specifically identified for use in the program, federal, state, or local funds specifically provided to the program, or income from the price of meals served to non-program adults. Any reimbursements or funds that exceed a sponsor's expenditures must be used in a way that benefits Summer Food Service Program services to children or other child nutrition programs operated by the sponsor. Sponsors with funds remaining at the end of the program year should use them as startup funds or for improving Summer Food Service Program services in the following year. Sponsors may not transfer excess funds to operations that are not related to the child nutrition programs or to increase salary or fringe benefit costs when the sole purpose of the increase is to reduce the food service program balance. If the sponsor will not be participating in the summer food service program next year, funds may be used towards the sponsor's provision of other child nutrition programs. Or, if the sponsor does not operate any other child nutrition programs, the state will collect the excess funds. Sponsors receive their program payments based on the number of meals served multiplied by the appropriate combined administrative and operating rates for reimbursement. Sponsors assume complete responsibility for all of the information they submit on their claims. Claims for reimbursement must reflect only meals that meet summer food service program requirements and are actually served to eligible children during the claiming period. Based on the records that are regularly submitted by the sites, sponsors must report the number and type of first and second meals served to all children. Sponsors of camps need to report the meals served to eligible children only. The total number of second meals claimed cannot exceed 2% of the number of first meals for each type of meal served during the claiming period. ODE-CMP can provide further guidance on serving second meals and on those situations where second meals will not be reimbursed. A sample consolidation form for first and second meals is included as Attachment 20 in the 2015 USDA Administrative Guidance for Sponsors. Sponsors must maintain records of all operating and administrative costs, as well as any program income received. These records must be available for review by the ODE-CMP. After the reimbursement claim form is completed in CMP Web, a sponsor must certify the claim by clicking on the I Certify box on the sponsor's claim and clicking the Submit button. Submit the claim for reimbursement to ODE-CMP as soon as possible within the month following the month covered by the claim. Claims will not be paid if they are submitted more than 60 days after the last day of the month covered by the claim, unless an exception is granted by FNS. ODE-CMP may allow sponsors to consolidate claims as follows. 10 days or less in their initial month of operation may be combined with the claim for the subsequent month. Or, if a sponsor operates for less than 10 days in the final month, it may combine the claim for the final month with this claim for the previous month. This combined claim must be submitted to ODE-CMP within 60 days of the last day of operation. Sponsors that contract with food service management companies, or FSMCs, for some or all aspects of the management of the food service program may allow the FSMC to conduct the same activities for summer food service programs that are performed for NSLP. Sponsors must maintain responsibility for submitting claims and remain accountable for ensuring all summer food service program requirements are met. Sponsors may claim reimbursement only for those meals that meet summer food service program requirements. Reimbursement may not be claimed for meals not served as a complete unit, except in the offer versus serve sites where complete meals must be offered to participants. Meal patterns or types not approved by ODE-CMP. Meals served at sites not approved by ODE-CMP. Meals consumed off-site, except in the case of approved field trips. This does not include a fruit, vegetable, or grain that ODE-CMP and the sponsor may allow to be taken off-site. More than one meal served to a child at a time, and seconds in excess of 2% of the number of first meals served by the type during the claiming period. Non-reimbursable meals include meals served outside of approved timeframes or approved dates of operation, meals served to ineligible children in camps, for example, those children not meeting the income eligibility guidelines for free or reduced price school meals, meals that are spoiled or damaged, meals in excess of the site's approved level of meal service, for example, the site cap, meals that were not served, and meals served to anyone other than eligible children. In this session, information on advances, startup payments, reimbursement claims, unallowable costs, and non-reimbursable meals was discussed. An in-depth discussion of program payments is located in Part 2, Administering the Program, Chapter 4, in the USDA Summer Food Service Program 2015 Administrative Guidance for Sponsors. Sponsors are encouraged to review this chapter to learn about Summer Food Service Program payments. If you have any questions regarding this session, please contact your assigned specialist. Thank you for participating in the ODE-CMP Summer Food Service Program training on program payments. Oregon Department of Education and USDA are equal opportunity providers and employers. Thank you for all you do to fuel Oregon's future.